Hi, Greg. You asked for a blow-by-blow account of my trip to the southeast part of the United States last week. I have to say, it was a pretty exciting couple of days. As you know, we've been working to build a sales presence throughout the U.S., and this map gives a quick overview of where we are today. The work for this past trip began Tuesday morning at breakfast on September 5th with a gentleman named Neil Peters. Neil's company is called DPM Care. I'm not exactly sure what DPM stands for, but Neil told me they clean somewhere around 22 million square feet of flooring per year. From my perspective, DPM doesn't particularly matter because DPM is big enough to call themselves whatever they want. From breakfast, we went to a senior living facility called Pointe, Chattanooga. This is an assisted living community and one of 30 owned by Independent Healthcare Properties, headquartered in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We visited with the interior designer, whose name is Melissa, and who happens to be sister to the managing partner of IHP, and with Jennifer McFarland, the executive director of this particular community. After identifying a couple of spots to address later in the day, we then visited another of their facilities called Morning Point Lantern, which is a memory care community. By the way, we can't call them Alzheimer's facilities now because that name has a negative connotation. Here at the Lantern facility, the carpet was filthy and sticky from in-house cleaners leaving massive amounts of detergent residue on the surface of the carpet. The other thing we noticed is that in both facilities it wasn't only the carpet that was sticky, but all the hard surfaces were also gummy, and you could hear that squish, squish, squish from the floors as the people and staff walked on it. We found out later that in all 30 facilities they have standardized on Virex as the cleaner of choice and use it on all their surfaces, including the floors. We've already initiated tests to validate the theory that Virex compromises the urethane and other wear finishes on many of the finished products, potentially creating an even worse hygiene environment than the Virex is intended to address. Leaving the Lantern, we visited the headquarters offices of IHP, where we met with the owners group, headed by Franklin Farrow, Brian Applewhite, and Wendell Davis. It was at that meeting we introduced the paradigm shift from carpet or floor cleaning to indoor hygiene, starting with the floors and moving up. Wendell, whose title is Director of Asset Management, was particularly skeptical about our ability to truly impact their cleaning protocols. He basically said, "Yeah, you and everyone else say you're the best. I just won't believe it until I see it for myself." I suggested that we'd be able to not only show him physical proof and photos, but actual real-time data validated by ATP meter results. Again, he said, "Great, show me." From that meeting, we continued our time with Melissa, the designer, over lunch, and then headed back to our first stop at the assisted living community. It was there that we cleaned a small sample of LVP floor. Jennifer, the executive director, took a clean microfiber cloth and hot water to wipe clean a section of the floor. I swabbed it and measured the RLUs with the luminometer and came up with an initial reading of 1,454. From there, I sprayed 2 shots of GVX, then wiped with clean paper towels. The next swab showed a reading of 1. Enough said, right? We also cleaned a spot in the carpet where the trash soup trail continued to linger even after multiple cleanings. Neil committed to come back later and completely remove that trail. Later in the afternoon, we hosted a 2-hour-long maintenance symposium with senior facility managers for about 20 of the IHP locations in the near vicinity. Neil did a presentation of flooring products and trends for senior and assisted living facilities both nationwide and locally. Again, I was invited to propose the shift from a mentality of simply cleaning to providing a hygienic, healthy, safe environment, starting from the floors and working up to other surfaces. The facilities managers unanimously agreed that they constantly struggled with certain stains, especially cranberry juice, and odors, primarily urine. At the end of our presentation, we came away with a sense of having communicated hope to these men who cared for the residents in each of their communities. Wendell, who had earlier said, "I'll believe it when I see it," said, "Well, it looks like you sold all the guys." Now, whether that translates to a changed paradigm and increased sales of GVX and Encapsulate remains to be seen. At the very least, I'm incredibly hopeful. Day 2 was spent in Birmingham, Alabama with 2 of my sales guys who are hot on the trail of every GVX lead they can find. Here you can see multiple photos of before and after results on carpet and resilient flooring. Of greatest import is the paradigm shift in focus. They started out talking about carpet cleaners and developing relationships with local cleaners. They wanted to implement a sales model that focused primarily on a direct consumer base. One of the guys was talking about how grateful he was to be able to earn $700 to $1,000 per day cleaning the floors with his own little mow in GVX. I basically told them that we are not headed in that direction. We will focus on 2 primary end-use markets: healthcare, specifically senior living, and hospitality, since those are the markets currently generating most of our momentum. A third segment we'll approach is what Greg and I discussed in Montana: local jails and public facilities that encounter or house at-risk individuals. We played with the ATP meter, measuring the RLUs before and after cleaning on several surfaces. We cleaned the inside and outside rims of a clean water glass. We cleaned chair arms. We cleaned a tabletop. And we were sort of blown away that the tabletop and chair arms had such low readings. At the end of the day, both of the guys came away with a renewed focus and excitement to make GVX and Encapsulate the primary products used for indoor environment health and safety, starting with the floors and moving up in their markets. We'll continue to employ ATP luminometer technology paired with low moisture counter-rotating brush cleaning equipment, utilizing Speedy Wipes and GVX to remove rather than disinfect contaminants that contribute to a facility's nosocomial infection rates. We think this approach is a game changer and opens monumental opportunities for all of us. All these superlatives sound like the Donald, right?